A long distance relationship doesn't just end with a big fight. It really implodes in some spectacular movie worthy argument. Most of the time, it dies slowly, often in silence. It's more like a death by a thousand paper cuts, a series of small, almost invisible shifts that pull two people apart until they wake up one day feeling like they're living with a stranger. And this slow decay, it usually happens in five predictable stages. Stages that most couples don't even see coming until it's way too late. They write off the symptoms as just a rough patch when really it's a clear path leading straight to a breakup. In this video, we are going to walk you through that entire journey from the first tiny crack to the final drift. But more importantly, I'm going to give you a practical, no nonsense guide to reversing course at every single stage. Because just seeing the road you are on is the first and most powerful step towards choosing a different one. So, stage one, the annoyance stage. The first stage is subtle, it doesn't feel like a crisis, it just feels irritating. This is the annoyance phase. It's when small logistical problems start to feel like huge personal attacks. A missed goodnight call isn't just a simple mistake anymore. It's a sign they don't care. A text that's a little shorter than usual isn't just because they're busy, it's proof they're pulling away. This is where miscommunication starts to fester. Digital communication is a minefield. It has no tone, no body language, and no context, which makes it incredibly easy to misread what someone means. You find yourself rereading text, hunting for a hidden meaning that probably isn't even there. At its core, this stage is about losing what relationship researchers call positive sentiment override. That's just a fancy way of saying you stop giving your partner the benefit of the doubt. In a healthy relationship, you assume good intentions. In the annoyance stage or the annoyance phase, you start assuming the worst. The friction creates tiny cracks in your foundation. You start having these small looping arguments about scheduling, about who should call whom, or why they seem to have time to be online for others but not for you. It feels petty, so you avoid talking about the real feelings underneath it all. A growing fear of disconnection. So, how do you get out of the annoyance stage? The fix has two parts: practice generous assumptions and demand clear communication. First, make a conscious choice to believe the best of your partner. When a text is short, assume they're buried in work, not that they're mad at you. But second, and this is the important part, you have to make the unspoken spoken. Stop expecting your partner to read your mind. Instead of silently stewing over a missed call, have a real conversation about it. You could say, hey, I know we're both swamped, but when I don't hear from you before bed, my anxiety kind of spikes. Can we agree to just send a quick, exhausted talk tomorrow? Text if it's a full call isn't going to happen. This isn't about being needy, it's about setting clear mutual ground rules that prevent these misunderstandings from happening. You are not blaming them, you're explaining your feelings and proposing a solution as a team. This is how you seal the cracks before they turn into something much bigger. Stage two, the communication drop off. If the annoyance phase goes unchecked, you slide right into stage two, the communication drop off. This one is much more noticeable and honestly a lot more frightening. It's not just about the quality of your talks anymore, it's about the quantity and depth. Those daily check ins start to feel less like something you want to do and more like something you have to do. The long, winding conversations you used to have about your dreams, your fears, and the funny thing you saw on the way to work, they get replaced by a routine surface level script. How was your day? Good. Yours? Good. Tired? And that's it. The calls get shorter, the gaps between texts get longer. You stop sharing the little things. The annoying coworker, the great cup of coffee, the song that made you think of them. It might seem too trivial to mention, but a relationship is built on that shared trivia. It's the fabric of shared life. When you stop sharing it, you stop sharing your life. This stage is so dangerous because it creates a vicious cycle. The less you talk, the less you know about each other's day to day world. The less you know, the less you have to talk about. All of a sudden, you feel like you are trying to make small talk with an acquaintance, not the person you love. It feels forced because it is forced. You are not curious anymore. You're just going through the motions. To pull back from this, you have to reinvent how you communicate. The answer is scheduled quality time and creative connections. And yes, I mean schedule it. Put a recurring date night on your shared calendar and guard that time with your life. This isn't just a phone call while you're both folding laundry. This is a focus, dedicated video call where you are both fully present and get creative with it. Technology is for more than just looking at each other's faces on a screen. Watch a movie at the same time using a streaming party app. Play an online game together. Order each other dinner from a local delivery service and eat together over video. Ask better questions than how was your day? Try asking how was the best part of your week? Or what is something you are struggling with that I can help you with? The goal is to create new shared experiences that give you something real to connect over and break that cycle of stale, obligatory check ins. Stage three, the independent life. If things keep sliding, you land in stage three, the independent life. This is the stage where the pronoun we quietly gets replaced by I. You stop thinking like a team and start operating as two separate individuals who just happen to be in a relationship. You start making decisions, big and small, without even thinking to consult your partner. Not because you are being malicious, but because it's just easier that way. You plan your weekends, make new friends, maybe even start looking at a new job opportunity, and you tell your partner about it later as news, not as part of a discussion. Your life is over here, their life is over there, and the bridge connection, the two, is starting to fall apart. Now, this isn't about healthy independence. That's vital in any relationship. This is about building a completely separate existence. You might even feel a little bit proud of how well you are handling the distance, how you have built this full life all by yourself. But that self sufficiency can be a Trojan horse for emotional separation. When your partner is no longer or your partner no longer fits into the daily reality of your life, you subconsciously start to see them as being outside of it. This leads to a deep, profound loneliness for both of you. Even if you never say it out loud, if any of this is starting to sound familiar, just take a deep breath. Recognizing where you are is the most powerful step you can take to change things. You are not stuck on this path. And if this video is helping you find some clarity, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. We are all trying to figure this stuff out. And my goal here is to give you the tools to build a relationship that can go the distance. Now, how do you pull back from the independent life? You have to reestablish shared goals and a shared vision for the future. This is the point where having a plan to eventually close the distance becomes non negotiable. A long distance relationship without a light at the end of the tunnel starts to feel pointless. You need to sit down and have a serious talk about your timeline. What are the actual concrete steps you need to take to be in the same city? Who needs to look for a job? Where would you live? Having this plan makes the sacrifice you're making right now feel meaningful because you know what it's for. But it's not just about the big picture. You also need a plan. Your next in person visit, having that date on the calendar works like an anchor, giving you something real and tangible to look forward to. Create a shared digital space, a Pinterest board for your future home, a shared note with a list of places you want to travel. You have to be intentional about weaving your lives back together and reminding yourselves every day that you are building one future, not two separate ones. Stage four, the emotional disconnect. Stage four is the emotional disconnect. This is where the distance stops being just physical and becomes emotional. You can be on the phone for an hour or somehow feels even more alone when you hang up. It's that feeling of being with the person who used to know you better than anyone in the world and realizing you now feel like you are talking to a polite stranger. The vulnerability is gone. You stop sharing your fears and your insecurities because it just doesn't feel safe anymore. Maybe you tried in the past and felt like you weren't heard, or maybe the effort just feels like too much. You start avoiding any topics that could lead to a fight, not because you are happy, but because you are just tired. You are officially lonely inside your relationship. Reversing an emotional disconnect is tough. It takes a lot of courage. The solution is what you might call engineered vulnerability. You can't just wait for it to happen on its own. You have to create the right conditions for it. This means asking brave questions and giving brave answers. Instead of asking, "How are you?" ask, "How are you really?" Share something you are genuinely anxious about, and then hold the space for them to do the same. A really powerful exercise is to just validate how hard this whole long distance thing is. Say it out loud. "This is really hard. I miss you. And sometimes it makes me feel lonely and disconnected." Do you ever feel that way? Admitting the pain of the situation together can be an incredible bonding moment. It lets you stop pretending everything is fine and lets you team up against the real enemy, the distance itself. And this is also the stage where getting professional help, like online couples counseling, can make all the difference. A therapist can give you a safe, neutral space to rebuild the emotional trust that's been lost. And we go to stage five, the final drift. If the emotional disconnect is left to fester, you enter the fifth and final stage, the final drift. The defining feeling of this stage is simple: apathy. The arguments stop. The frantic, "We need to fix it," calls are over. The silent isn't tense anymore. It's just empty. This isn't peace, it's resignation. Communication might be down to a single good morning text, a habit that's been stripped of all its meaning. You don't feel angry or sad about the relationship anymore. You just feel nothing. At this point, both of you are usually in a silent, unspoken holding pattern. You are each living your own life, and the relationship has become a footnote. The hope for a future together has completely faded. Often, you are both just waiting for something else to happen, a new job, a move, or for one person to finally find the energy to make the end official. The relationship isn't a source of joy or pain anymore. It's just there, an artifact of a past connection running on fumes until the engine finally cuts out. The only way to address this stage is with a conversation of radical honesty. Let's call it the "Is This Worth It" summit. You have to put it all out on the table. You have to say, "Feel like we're completely drifted apart. The connection is gone. And mostly, I just feel numb to it." Do you feel that way too? The question isn't, "Do you still love me?" Love can stick around long after a relationship is over. The real question is, are we both right now willing to do the incredibly hard work it will take to climb all the way back through these stages? This requires a mutual enthusiastic yes, a maybe, or a sure if you want to. Is really a no. If the answer is yes, then you immediately create a 90-day plan using the solution from the other stages. You schedule the date nights, you book the visits, you start the vulnerability exercises. And if the answer is no, then it's about giving each other the grace of a clean break. It's about letting go with respect and kindness instead of letting the relationship die a slow, painful, silent death that doesn't honor either of you. So, those are the five stages: the annoyance phase, the communication drop off, the independent life, the emotional disconnect, and the final drift. Please don't look at these stages as a death sentence. Look at them as a warning system, an early detection alarm telling you that your relationship needs attention and intention. These struggles are incredibly common. Facing them and being willing to have those tough conversations is a sign of your relationship's strength, not its weakness. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: a healthy relationship isn't measured by the absence of problems, but by the mutual willingness to face them head on together. Pick one solution from the stage that hit closest to home for you and find the courage to bring it up with your partner tonight. The journey back to connection always starts with one single intention step. If you are ready to start rebuilding that connection and want more concrete strategies, I highly recommend watching my next video on 5 simple ways to immediately revive your long distance relationship. You can find the link down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Remember, a relationship is a co created experience. Thank you.